Greetings, guzzlers. Tonight we are dining 14th century style. Clear my throat. Must have an inordinate amount of phlegm. Cooling draught of wine. Ease it now. Tonight we're going to cook Romania. This is from a 14th century cookbook, even though it originated before then in the eastern provinces. But this is the 14th century version from the Liber de Coquina, or something like that. But before I begin, I just want to make a little dedication. This is to a fellow chef. Now, obviously, he was not as skilled as I, but he was close. But this is dedicated to Robin of the Marshes, Romania. So this dish is a chicken dish. And we have some chicken thighs, skin on. You can use chicken pieces with bones in if you want, whatever. They wouldn't have been down the local supermarket and bought skinless, boneless pieces of chicken. They just got the bloody cleaver out and hacked it to bits. The chicken, that is, into bits, cooked it. But anyway, we've got skin on chicken thighs. And then you're going to need a white onion, or brown onion, whatever you want to call it, but not a red onion. Some almonds, skin on. Teaspoon of ground ginger, teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Some salt, some long pepper, some fat to fry it in. They would use like lard or something else. We're not using lard. Very unhealthy. And did I say long pepper? I can't remember if I said pepper. But we're going to use long pepper. Because typically the recipes of this era, just touching there all right. Probably making cough now. Better rinse it. Typically, if it's era, quantities were not given. Equally, they didn't necessarily say get some ground ginger and some ground coriander and some ground pepper. They would have said spices. And at that time, when they said spices, it would often mean long pepper. And things like ginger, things like cinnamon. Oh, just remembered the other key ingredient. In my drinking cup, I'm not going to drink it from this, because in here I've got pomegranate syrup. I'll put that over there before I knock it off of there. This is the main flavour, along with the almonds and a little bit of onion and the spices. It's going to flavour this chicken. And we're going to be serving it with rice. So the first thing we're going to do is start the preparation, and then you're going to want a dish with a lid. I think I've covered everything. So, Romania. Like I say, this is a version. There's lots of different versions. This is the 14th century version. Hence the garb. So we begin by roughly chopping the almonds. Skin on, all part of the flavour. Now, like I said, the recipes do not giveth quantities, so one must interpret. And so I've got a good handful or two here of almonds, and we're just going to roughly chop them, like I say. The actual recipe translation basically says, for Romania, fry chicken with fat and onions and chopped unpeeled almonds. I'm having trouble reading this. I'll have to try and remember them. Unpeeled almonds, sorry, thinned with sweet and sour pomegranate juice. Now, that pomegranate syrup thing, molasses or whatever you want to call it, does have a sweet and sour tang to it. Okay. Then drain and simmer with the chicken. So we're going to drain the liquid part from all these bits, and we're then going to put that back in the pan, and we're going to simmer the chicken with a mix with a spoon and put in some spices. That's the rough translation, and that's my almonds roughly chopped. So they're not a lot of ingredients. Don't you fucking do shit. That's me fucking, what's now gone over there? Oh, you little bastards. I'll scrape that in a bit. So, can't remember what I'm saying now. I was rudely interrupted by my spices deciding to mingle on the side. So that's that in there. Oh, I'm saying there's not an awful lot of ingredients in this. And now all we're going to do with that onion is we are going to peel that onion. Okay, cut that top, so cut the top off, cut it in half like that through the root, peel that, slippery little fucker. And then we're going to sort of dice this up. Okay, right, since this has been a little bit awkward. Right, now look at that, just because I see you being awkward and I was about to say I'll do that off camera, I should behave yourself. So, like I was saying, we're just now going to dice this onion. Doesn't really matter because most of it's not going to end up in a final dish. And I've scraped up all my spices that spilt there, and that's now in one pot. Just shove that in there for now. And now we've done all the messy bit. Well, I say messy bit. We've done all the bit that involves a knife work. Oh, left me glasses on. These are newfangled things from the future. Some doctor turned up and said, try these out. Then he buggered off again. Funny blue box, but never mind. Anyway, so let's get the cooking started. So I've placed my pan on a low to medium heat, and I'm going to chuck in some fat. I'm not using lard. I'm going to use, don't waste any, I'm going to use some ghee. Now we're just going to let that melt down, and then you're going to take the onion. Oh, that phlegm is still high within my body. I must balance my humours. Oh shit, got no wine left. That won't help, will it? Better get some. So as soon as that's melted, we get frying up, gently simmering the onion. That is almost melted. So at which point, we're going to put in those onion, and we're just going to gently cook them for a little bit. Now, I've mentioned that this is a 14th century version. The older version is about 10th century. And although it sort of varies a little bit, it's all basically just chicken and pomegranate. It's sort of like the additional bits that are altered. For instance, it's very similar, if not based on, a Persian dish. Can't pronounce this. Say like Fejian. But they didn't use almonds like we're going to. They used walnuts. But again, the two fundamental ingredients, just going to turn that heat up a little bit. Chicken and pomegranate. So, while that's preparing, or either while that's just cooking, I'm going to take some long pepper, and we're just going to make sure there's no stalks on it. And then, that's probably going to do, there's a stalk on that bit. And then I'm just going to grind that up. And the only other ingredient we will want is be salt. But the, oh, there's a bit of stalk there. Come here, little bugger, where'd you go? Might have to find them fangled devices that the doctor gave me, so I can see what the bloody hell I'm doing. I have passed this the afternoon, the after of the noon, at a distillery, where I tried to balance my humours by indulging in some spirit. Didn't work. Hence the wine. This is where I'm going to take it the chicken, and I'm just going to lay this into the pan. Ooh, that's a bit of a small fry compared to some of them others. Not sure they're all going to fit in here. Oh yes they will. And I'm just going to turn that heat up a little bit. I want to see if I can just brownish the skin a bitish. Well, I'll just say there's not much else to say, to be honest. For now, I'm just going to let that try and cook a little bit, then we'll turn it, and then we'll be entering into that phase of cooketh under the lid. Covered for you heathens. Right, I don't know how well this is brown. It's starting to get a bit of colour to it. So I'm going to turn this over. I'm turning the heat down. And we're just going to turn that chicken that way up. Now, this is where we're going to scatter those almonds. Sort of on top, and then we pour up the pomegranate molasses over, and we're now, well actually what I'm going to do, because it'd be a shame to waste that little bit in there, just going to add a little bit of water, and we're now just going to cook that. We're going to cook it that for 1/2 of 1 hour. Sorry, spitting nuts. I was eating some nuts. Better wash them down. So we're just going to cook that for about ½ an hour before we then prepare the sauce for the final bit. Okay, so far as the hair. What I'm going to do now is just remove the chicken, because I want to remove all the bits from the sauce. And like I say, and then we will be returning chicken to finish off the cooking. Sorry. So, because that sieve might not be fine enough, although I think it probably will be, I'm going to do it through some cloth. So I'm just going to turn that heat off for now. I'll remove that over there, probably knocking it everywhere. We now just want to tip that in there. Them silicone modern fangled things. Doesn't really matter if there's any bits in it. But what I want to do is just now extract all the bits, so we end up with like a sauce. Get that back on the heat. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to transfer that back into there. Leave it on there for a minute. Put the heat back on, and you can see now. How the sauce gained all that colour and everything else from the pomegranate. I'm going to squeeze that with my hands because that'll be right and hot. Just see if we can squeeze that. Chuck that in there. Now, at this point, in go those spices. Throw that down a bit, including some salt and went a bit over top on the old pepper. So, add some of that pepper, and now we return the chicken to that. Whoop! Get here. Put them juices, and it don't matter about the odd bit of onion and nut that goes in there. Put the lid back on. We're going to cook it for another however many minutes or half-ish of hours. You choose it. Basically until the chicken's cooked. And the noise in the background is my miracle machine from the future. The man is the doctor in the blue box. He droppeth off another futuristic device. He said, don't tell anybody, but this is a microwave or something like that. He said microwave, and he said it cooketh things in no time at all. So I'm putting the rice in there. So we're just going to cook that for a bit longer, like I say, until that's cooked. We're going to drink it a bit more wine, and then we'll be ready to serve that Romania with some rice. So time to serve it up. Ooh. Rid of the lid. So we're going to remove the chicken. One, two, oops, make a mess. Right, skin's falling off, getting a bit slippery. Freak. One, two, three. Clean crap off of that. Right, I'm just going to give that a bit of a boost. And then we're going to drizzle some of that sauce over the top. And we'll have a little taste. We'll take some of that broth and or sauce, whatever you want to call it. Pour it over the chicken and the rice. And also, and now let us taste it. The dish. Oh, our plate's hot. Ooh, so, just going to remove. I'm going to have to put that down, I'm afraid. So, let's just remove some of the chicken. There we go. Try a little bit of the rice in the sauce. Definite tang of the pomegranate. And here's some of the chicken. We definitely get the pomegranate, but there was quite a bit of pomegranate in it. Whether you really appreciate the almond or onion, a bit difficult to tell. But there you go. There is your Romania. Can't see what I'm doing. Newfangled things Dr. Blue Box gave me. Oh, can't see them. Oh, can see that now. Oh, can't see it properly. Oh, see it now. Oh, can't see that properly. Miracle, miracle. So, 14th century chicken and pomegranate. Lush.